All right. I am running behind today. Let's see here. We coming live? Let's see. Let's restart this. Hello, everyone tuning in. Let's see. Okay, cool. We're live on the YouTubes. If you're just chiming in here, this is the kind of pre-show portion of the show where I struggle and fumble to get everything set up because I'm usually not in the studio on time. So I take this time to go through the checklist of things as far as audio, video, make sure everything is set up correctly and all the cameras are good to go. Let's see, checking drop frames right now, looking really good on dropped frames. Let's look at my other camera angle here. Fantastic. Audio mic is up. I've got that up. That's up. Okay. There we go. A little bit of Sprite Zero Sugar for today. Just want to make sure my animations are working. They are. Good. Twitch is up and running. Let's check the other channels here. Make sure we are up and running across the board. What's today? Sunday is the 21st of February. Live on Twitter. And let's see Facebook here. Also live on Facebook. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So cameras, everything's good to go. Lighting is on point. Looks like everything's coming through in OBS. I have to mute desktop audio here because if I don't mute it and we start the intro is going to double up. So, all right, cool. Let's see. No drop frames. Fantastic. It's got some cool things to talk about today. Some new gear, some different stuff in the studio, but we will get into that because that's what the whole topic of this episode is about. I think I have everything up. Yeah? Okay. Cool. We are on episode number 64. Let's pull this up. Good. Cool. All right. Not a whole lot of notes today, but that's okay. Okay, let's just jump into this one. Hello and welcome to episode number 64 of the Hafey Digital Podcast, a show for creators, makers, and doers. My goal is to help you make to the max. My name is Ryan, and in this episode, we're going to do a 2021 edition video podcast studio tour. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to the show, my name is Ryan Hafey, and this is where I talk about all things photography, video, creation, podcasting, live streaming, occasionally some FPV stuff, and just about everything in between as far as content creation goes. So there's a lot of tutorial stuff that I do here. There's a lot of documenting the different projects and that I happen to be working on at any given time. And we just kind of have fun and hang out every week, every Sunday around this time on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Twitch. So feel free to come and hang out every Sunday and have some fun, or subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Anchor. Speaking of subscriptions, wherever you happen to be watching or listening, it would be awesome if you could hit that subscribe button real quick. I promise you're going to like what you see. Also, follow me on social media at Ryan Hafey on Instagram and Twitter. I hang out also on, I need to update that little animation because I'm also on TikTok. Don't post a lot there yet. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what my content strategy is going to be over there. Also big now on Clubhouse. I'm obsessed with Clubhouse. So if you haven't gotten on Clubhouse, it's really easy to get an invitation. Check it out. And just kind of check it out and get into it and see if it's something you might like, because it's been really cool to interact with people, and it's I've been able to have the opportunity to listen to people speak who I would otherwise not be able to hear from. So it's a pretty cool app. So today on the show, like I said in the intro, we're going to be doing an updated studio tour. Now, on my main YouTube channel, there is a link in the description to that. I did post a video a while back with a tour of my podcast studio, but it's changed and morphed a little bit, got some new gear, got some different gear. So I figured with 2021 here, it would be a good time to kind of go through and do an updated tour of the studio. Now, if you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, this will be a heavily visual episode, although I will do my best to explain things as we're going through. But again, for those listening just to the audio only, there is a link to the video of this podcast. So if I'm going through and you hear anything, if you hear me talking about anything that you think might be interesting and you want to see more of it, click that link, watch the video, and you can kind of see all the stuff and all the gear that I'm working with here. But first, of course, got to go through and do some updates. We have some updates from this past week. Updates are really just me talking about things that happened throughout the week that I think are interesting and that you may or may not think are interesting as well. But for starters, previously I mentioned that I was flying my drone. This is an FPV update for all of you. I was flying my drone and got a little too confident and crashed into some just basically loose dirt. And that clogged up the motors on my drone to the point where they wouldn't turn. So for like the third or fourth time at this point, I had to take them apart and clean them out, which isn't hard to do. It's just a little tedious because there's a lot of screws and things like that. Well, inside one of the motors, or inside all the motors, is this little tiny washer. It's got an interior diameter of 4 millimeters, exterior diameter of 6 millimeters, and it's super thin, but you need it in order to be able to, in order for the motors to operate properly. And I've almost lost that washer on a couple different occasions, but luckily I found it. This last time, I was like, okay, don't forget about the washer. Don't forget about the washer. And then what did I do? I forgot about the washer, and I'm pretty sure I washed it down the drain. So, unfortunately, there's really nowhere, you can't just go to a hardware store and buy these washers because they're so small. I did find a website from a Chinese company where you can buy just about any size washer you can think of in the world. And I placed an order, but the problem is Chinese New Year just ended. So my washer wouldn't have shipped until yesterday, I believe. And, coming from China, who knows how much longer that would take. So what I did was there's a local Las Vegas FPV Drone Facebook group. And I sent a message out to them saying, hey, if anybody's got any extra, 5-inch drone motors laying around that maybe are broken or whatever, and if you have no use for them, I'd love to take them off your hands because I need this washer. And luckily, someone, granted they were, a 38-minute drive, completely on the other side of town, but they chimed in and they had a few motors to dispose of, and they were happy to hand them off to me, no charge. So I drove over there and grabbed them, and I'm back up and running. So that's exciting. I'm glad to be back up and running with the drone. And other than that, you may or may not notice something different here in the studio, in this general direction right here. Yes, that's right. I got a new monitor. This is, oh boy, I don't remember the model number, so I'm going to find it here. Let's see. This is a BenQ monitor. It is the BenQ PD3220U. And this is the Thunderbolt edition because I do have a MacBook. So in the event that I ever want to hook it up to the monitor, I can do that. But for a long time, I've been working with what used to be here was an LG 27-inch 4K monitor. This is a 32, and initially I was thinking about getting a super wide monitor that would just kind of be one monitor that spans the whole length of my desk. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I really do enjoy the use of two monitors. So what I did, so this is the new monitor. Previously, out of camera here, I had just a small, I forget what size it was, but it was just a 1080p monitor. So what I did is I took my 27-inch that was here, and I moved it here. And luckily, the stand, this LG monitor, allows for. Let's see. Hi, how you doing? I'm gonna get into. I'll explain this in a minute why I'm doing this way. But so let's see if this will work. This is kind of a janky way to do this tour, but there you go. So this is the new monitor here, and then this over here is my 27-inch LG monitor that I have turned vertically, which has proven to be a godsend because there's so much real estate on that screen that I can use now, much more so than the 1080. So editing's going to be awesome because I can put my media browser, my Lumetri scopes and stuff over here, and then have the timeline and everything over here. So I tried calibrating this monitor, and there's some differing information. Okay, there needs to be better information online about screen calibration. So I have, and I just purchased an upgraded version of it. This one is a few years old, but this is a Color Monkey display screen calibrator. And this is maybe, I don't know, 5 years old, and it's an entry-level unit. I've never, even the instructions with this are kind of unclear. I've never really gotten consistent results out of this, but I guess it was better than nothing. But I ordered an upgraded one, which should be coming hopefully in the next couple days. But there's different color profiles. Let's see if it'll show it. I don't know if it will. No, it's not going to show it. Never mind. I was hoping. Actually, I don't know why I thought it would do that, but I was hoping I could go to the on-screen display, the menu display through this little puck thing that came with the monitor, so you can see some of the different options. But you can't. But anyway, it's got a lot of different display. What do they refer to them as? Color modes. You've got DCI P3, Display P3, HDR, sRGB, Adobe RGB, Rec 709, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely need to go through and look more into which of those is best. I did look at a quick review and found that the Display P3, I guess, gives you the widest range of colors and things like that. So I'm sticking with that. I did calibrate using the Color Monkey display, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know what the terminology is for it, but in photography, when you're editing a photo, if you go into the curves and you raise your blacks up a little bit, actually take from the bottom left corner and move that slider up to where you kind of crush the blacks. I'm almost getting a little bit of that from this monitor. So I need to, when I get that new calibrator, and I'll be able to fix it. But so I'm going to be tweaking this and kind of working on getting those colors a little more accurate. I did notice a big difference. There was a week or two ago, I was editing some photos, and they looked great on the LG screen that was previously here. But then when I transferred them to my phone, they were super, way warmer than they were on this screen. So I really want to try to figure out how to kind of narrow that down. I know calibration is more for print, but it would be nice to have some consistency across multiple devices, or at least, I don't know. I want whatever's going to look good here to look good everywhere. So that's what I'm working on. But with that, and I'll probably have more to say about this, and maybe I'll do a future episode regarding what I've learned about screen calibration. But that's kind of the new addition to the studio. So that's a good segue into the studio tour. Now, what I was going to do previously is use this camera, hook it up to an HDMI cable into the Ada Mini, and kind of show you around with my Sony a7 III. Unfortunately, I think the cable that I have, the last remaining HDMI cable that works with this, is loose. It doesn't have a tight connection to the camera. I tried it on this camera up here as well. Didn't work so well. The only problem is here, and this was kind of a last minute thing. Otherwise, I'd probably be more prepared. But up here, this camera is connected to cables that kind of run up and over here. So in order to, and this is the only other HDMI cable I have, so I would have had to take this off and take the wires out. So what we're going to try to do today is just move the camera here around to kind of show you the different things on the desk. It's not optimal by any means, but hopefully it'll get the job done. So let's see. What's up, Mark Perry, chiming in? Love to hear how you make out the calibration when you get it. Yeah, definitely. It's calibrations. It's so weird because, like I said, there's just not enough information out there on screen calibration and how to do it correctly based on the type of monitor you have. So I really got to dive into that. Anyway, let's start with cameras. So, okay, so I've moved to this angle here. So this camera, oh boy, this is going to be fun. This camera here, this is my primary camera that I'm working with. I'm going to move my mic stand a little bit. Oh God, this is going to be awkward. So this is the Sony A6500. This is my primary camera angle. I've been using this camera angle basically since I started. Get it locked in there. There we go. On it, I have a 12mm Rokinon cinema lens. It's a manual focus lens, which I've talked about before. I prefer manual focus lens simply for the fact that I'm not going to run into any focus hunting while I'm doing any live streaming. I would rather be able to have control of it. There are times when I have to manually focus if I want to show something close to the camera, which is partially why I have this camera angle in the first place. But just for kind of this one-on shot, I like this type of lens. Below here, this is a small field monitor that is basically just showing me what is being seen by the camera just so I can frame up. And then up above here, this is a newer 7-inch field monitor. And this is hooked up directly to my PC as a third monitor. And the reason that I did that is previously I was having issues where, you know, my second monitor would be here. And let's say if I was on a Zoom call or if I was trying to look at OBS as I was doing the podcast, for example, I would be talking to the camera but looking in this direction. And that's not an optimal thing to do. So I realized that I had this newer field monitor, so I just kind of mounted it on top of that camera, and that's where I put OBS now. So if I need to glance at OBS and check my drop frames or whatever, or look at me, it doesn't look as though I'm looking so crazy off camera, and I can be a little bit more attached to, you know, if it's a Zoom call, whoever I happen to be talking to. You know what I mean? So that's my camera. The other camera that I'm using, which I'll just stay on this angle for here, is a Sony RX100 Mark V. Great little camera. You probably find it for a decent price now. It was expensive when I got it. I think it was like $1,000 or $1,100. It's a great little pocket camera, but it's not cheap. So this is my second angle. I'll use this as kind of either a view like this. Oh, I got to zoom back out. You can see my damn pores. There we go. An angle like this, or at times I'll point it down and use it as a desk shot as well. Previously back here, I would have a GoPro, but that GoPro for a number of weeks now has been mounted to my my drone, and the mount that it is in, it's very difficult to get it out. So I'm just going to kind of leave it there. Maybe I'll get a new GoPro one day. Let's see, Mark says, love the idea of putting video call above camera like that. I'm definitely going to have to play with that in my setup. Yeah, man, it's helped tremendously. I like it a lot. So try that if you can. Let's see. Next up. So yeah, those are my camera angles. And for anyone out there who wants to set up a podcast studio that's similar to this, you want to make sure, like if you have any dreams of doing any live streaming, you want to make sure that you're getting a camera that has a clean HDMI out. I personally prefer Sony cameras. I've worked with them for a long time, and a lot of the A-series cameras do have clean HDMI out. The GoPro Hero 7, which is, or previously was, this camera angle back here. The GoPros also offer clean HDMI out, although I would advise against using those as your primary camera angle just because, it's super wide and it's not necessarily flattering. But if you want to kind of like a wide angle, maybe just a wide shot for your setup, it's a good option. Let's talk about audio. So this is the Shure SM7B. I just recently got this mic. This is, I think when I bought it, it was like on sale for $400. Typically runs for closer to $500 if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. Or maybe I got it for $300 and it's usually $400. I don't remember. Either way, this is a great mic. A lot of podcasters use this mic. It's very popular for that. It's not the highest end mic you can get by any means, but it does great for podcasting. And I've been liking it quite a bit. It's got a few on-camera options where you can tweak some things. There's this little plate on the back of it that you can take off, and it's got a couple switches for, I think, like high pass and a couple other things. But great mic. I have it here on a boom arm. This boom arm, or this XLR cable, it is an XLR microphone, runs from the boom arm and into this, which is there we go. It kind of works. See if I can tighten this down. Hold on. Can we do picture? There we go. Awesome. Although it kind of whatever. So this is the Rodecaster Pro. This is my soundboard. This soundboard is designed for podcasting use primarily. So it's got some it's got some sound effects that you can put in here. And you can connect your phone to it via a direct cable or even via Bluetooth, which is awesome if you plan to do any, if you want to get someone on your podcast and just have them call in via audio. Lots of opportunities there. And then you've got up to 4 microphone inputs. So you can have up to 4 guests on 4 different microphones. There are 4 headphone jacks. So everyone who's on the podcast can have their own headphones and can be listening to everyone through the same system. And it's just really been a great tool. I wish it was smaller. It does take up a lot of space on the desk, but it's got a lot of built-in options. Let's see, such as, you can change levels. You can do like things like, you can't see this, but I'll read it off. It's got a high-pass filter, noise gate, de-esser, compressor, etc. So if you're doing anything live, like we're doing right here, the ability to be able to turn those on and have those working in real time can be helpful. Just if you're trying to get some clean audio right out of the gate. So really love this board. And then let's see on the audio front. And by the way, the previous audio board that I was using was a little 2-channel Behringer audio interface. So you certainly don't need anything like this, but and it's a little bit on the pricier side. I think it's closer to $600, but $600. But if you like the idea of the soundboard, if you like the idea of being able to hook up your phone, if you plan to have multiple guests, this thing may be worth it for you. But if you don't need all those bells and whistles, you can definitely spend a lot less money. Let's see, Della says, are you using a cloud lifter for the microphone to increase the Shure SM7B gain? No, I am not, although I did consider it. I looked up a couple videos on it because I was aware that this mic tends to run a little quiet. There were some people that used cloud lifters with the Rodecaster. I did find one video of a guy who tested the difference between using the Shure with the cloud lifter and the Rode versus without it, and the difference was pretty negligible. The compression and gain settings that you get built in with the Rode tend to lift the signal enough. That said, I don't know what it sounds like with the cloud lifter. So I don't know. Down the road, I may get one to see if it works, and then if it doesn't make much of a difference, just return it. But just based on some of the things that I had been seeing online, I decided to go without it, and I just have a 1 XLR cable going directly into the Rode. So that's audio. Maybe you can't. No, you can't see it, but I'll see if I can pull this out a little bit. As far as speakers go, and while we're on the subject of audio, very tough to see these, but these are the iLoud Micro Studio monitors. These things are awesome. About $300 for the pair. Not exactly cheap, but prior to this, I was using these Bose speakers, and Bose is decent, but these introduced a lot more low end. They definitely opened up the low end, which was missing on the smaller Bose speakers that I had previously. So I've been very happy with these so far. The one issue, and I don't think it's related to the speakers, I think it's more just related to everything that's going on in this space, meaning all the different cables and electrical whatnot happening. But I do experience a little bit of electrical feedback if I turn up the volume on the back of the speaker too high. So right now I've got the volume turned up maybe a third of the way on the back. And if you listen real closely, you can still hear kind of the little electrical feedback hiss. But it's really not that noticeable. And obviously when you're playing any audio or, music or YouTube video, whatever it may be, you don't hear any of that. So overall, very happy. They feel very well built and, just a good little device. Let's move on to, I guess, some little accessories. How long? Let's see. Yeah, it's already been 26 minutes. Good Lord. Time flies when you're doing this thing. Let's move on to some accessories here. I'll talk first about, let's see, can I zoom in over here? Let's reposition this camera. There we go. Zoom in a little bit more. So this is the Elgato Stream Deck. This is a cool little device. If you've seen the show before and you see me reach off camera to I'm going to turn on my picture-in-picture. You see me reach off camera to engage my my show intro or to do the little animation that pops up on the screen. That's all being controlled from this. So this works well with OBS in that you can assign basically these buttons to do a whole number of different things, and not just OBS related things. It could be just certain commands on your computer, all sorts of different stuff. But I like to use it for, again, the intro. I could turn it off and on real quick. I did a game show concept previously. I don't it's been a while since I've done this, so I got to see if I even remember. Oh yeah, so this was kind of the theme of the game show. Let's see, how do I turn that off? There we go. But yeah, all controlled from this. I can even set it up to, like, these two buttons are set up to help me stop and start recording or start and stop streaming. So, and then I have other things on here. I have some bookmarks for websites. I think I used some I used to have some sound effects in there. I really haven't built this out as much as I probably should, but at least as far as the OBS stuff, it works really well. So, and then, excuse me, that's what you get when you drink carbonated beverages during a podcast. Okay. And then let's talk about the ever famous ATEM Mini. Okay, is it going to let me do this? I don't know if it's going to let me do this. Let's see. I'll change it to this angle here. Oh, I got to zoom out a lot. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to show it, and then I'm going to come back. So this is the ATEM Mini broadcast switcher. It's the mini broadcast switcher, and I'm sitting here like this, so I'm going to go ahead and let the camera loose. But this thing is awesome. So for a little bit of context, if you do want to do any live streaming, if you want to bring a camera signal into your computer, for the most part, you're going to need a capture card. A capture card essentially converts the clean HDMI signal from your camera into an ingestible format for your PC or Mac. If for every camera angle you plan to use, you would need a capture card, multiple capture cards. So, and those can range in price, but are typically like $100, $150. I think the Camlink 4K is the first one that I got, and it's about $125 if I remember. I'm not exactly sure. But if you start to introduce more camera angles to your setup, or if you want an easier way to switch between your camera angles, then this is something that you'd want to look into. Now, broadcast boards, especially like Blackmagic boards, can get super crazy expensive, like a couple $1,000 for a board with a bunch of buttons on it. This one, though, is designed for live streamers and for this type of purpose. So this thing's only $300. So if you do the math, let's say you have 3 camera angles and you're using individual capture cards for each of those camera angles, you're already, $375 in. Versus this thing, which will allow you up to 4 inputs. And one of those inputs could even be, or one or more inputs could be, like, let's say from, I could connect my Mac to one of those HDMI inputs and be able to show you what's going on my Mac, or again, just, different camera angles. There's other things you can do, which I really don't do a ton of, but let's see. Hold on. How can I, let's see. No. If I go here, there we go. So you can do little crossfades and things like that, which is kind of cool. It has built-in green keying functionality, which I haven't used yet. That's probably something that I should look into. But you can use green screen as I showed here. Let's do this. Let's bring this back to a reasonable. Okay, so we'll go there. Close enough. You can do picture-in-picture like I showed a little bit earlier, which has its purposes for, whatever. But great little device. And again, for live switching, I highly recommend it. I personally don't know of anything out there that does what this does, especially at that price point. So check it out. Let's see. What else do we got? Lighting. So this may not translate, but let's find out. So this is my light source. It looks massive on this little camera, but this is the Godox SL60W video light. It is on it is a 36-inch Neewer softbox, which is what you saw. You didn't actually see the video light because it's obviously behind. But it's like $135 for the video light, maybe another $65 for the softbox, and it's for the money is an excellent video light. Little bit on the noisy side, at least for my purposes, but really not that bad, and gives you just some nice soft lighting. As I've said before, previously I have used like a flat panel light. It was a Falcon Eyes was the brand. It was about maybe about a 12-inch diameter or something like that. And the problem with those, like, there are some where you can get some decently soft light out of them, but there's just not enough diffusion that you can get from a flat panel light. With this thing, the inside of this softbox is reflective, and there's also 2 layers of diffusion between the light and me. So you're getting this light just being bounced around like crazy, and you get this sort of nice shadow fall off on the side of my face, and just this very nice flattering lighting, no hot spots and things like that. So if you have the space for it and if you have the budget for it, I highly recommend, and if lighting is important to you, I highly recommend going with a setup like this. It doesn't have to be that particular video light, although again, from a budget standpoint, it's perfect. It's awesome. I love it. Let's see what else. And, I guess I'll show you see some of these little accent lights. These back here, these red lights that run along this way, they actually do serve a purpose for me. Previously, I have this room just has one standing light that's off camera back in that corner, and it doesn't make the room very bright. Sometimes I need a little extra light in this area, but I don't need so much. I don't need so much that requires this video light up here. So I'll turn this on. It comes with this little remote that you can change the colors and things like that. White, you can even set it up to where it'll change with your voice and that type of stuff. A little quirky. I usually just typically use solid colors, but there you go. This back here, I have a Lifix smart bulb right here. I have a Lifix smart bulb in here, which I have connected to a Google Home device, which is right here, so I can do things like this. Hey, Google, turn off The Office.
All right, Turning off Office.
Thank you. Why are you so loud? Hey, Google, turn on Office.
Sure. Turning Office on.
So it's a little quirky, or not quirky, but a little overkill maybe. I could just as easily reach up and flip the little switch on and off. But it's, it's cool. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So, and these things help just provide a little accent lighting and make the setup here look a little bit more interesting. I like the contrast between the red and the teal. So that's what I've done. That's what I've set up, and I like it. This is my safe space. This is where all the magic happens. And then up here, you won't see too much of it. 'Cause again, I don't have my camera angle set up. But up here, I've got a couple shelves. I've got back here. I would recommend these if you just need some cheap soundproofing for your studio space. Now, these are not high end by any means. These are not going to absorb all the frequencies that you would typically want to absorb if you're looking for high quality production audio. But go on Amazon and you can get a stack of these. Actually, here. It's just these. It's just, kind of thin little styrofoam things. I've thought about making my own sound panels. I saw a video where they actually tested, someone took a bunch of towels, just bath towels, and put them inside like a frame of some kind. And those actually worked really well to cancel out a lot of those unwanted frequencies. So I thought about maybe going to like a art supply store or looking for some used canvases that you would paint on and then stuffing those full with some old towels, because we have some of those as well. And then maybe just hanging them around the room a little bit. See if those help. And I did in this room sporadically. Let's see, you could probably see it here. Thinking about it now is probably not the smartest idea, but you can kind of see how, I've got a couple up there, and I doubt that it's doing anything. I've just got them spread out throughout the room a little bit. By the way, this is also my workout room. If you can't tell, I've got a squat rack over there and a treadmill. But I've got some of the sound panels hanging around the room in certain places. And I don't think they're doing much, at least the ones over here, to help. But this, I can imagine, would actually be helping a little bit. Just any of the extra noise that's floating around in this area. Those panels probably help to soak some of that unwanted sound and frequencies up a little bit. And I think that's it. I think I covered just about everything. That's the studio for now. One thing I didn't show, which I can't really show, is my PC, which powers all of this mostly. I do use a PC for all this. When you have multiple camera angles coming in and you're trying to live stream and record and process all this video, these video feeds coming into the PC, you do want to have a system that can handle that. I'm not a computer nerd, so I can't tell you, and I've had people ask, what kind of computer do I need that can help me do what you're doing? I don't know exactly, but what I do know is that what I have works pretty decently. And what I have is a Ryzen 3700X CPU, my processor, and then my GPU, which I do want to upgrade. That's probably going to be one of my next upgrades. But it's a GTX 1080 Ti, or GTX 1080. Yeah, GeForce. It's okay. I've had it for a few years now. It's done the job. But, on the editing side, I do a lot of video editing on this computer, and especially for rendering times and playback. I want to upgrade that to be able to beef that up a little bit. But also, been mining a little bit of cryptocurrency lately because, Bitcoin is hot again. The only problem with that, it's great that Bitcoin, because I bought Bitcoin relatively early. It's just a small holding of it. And it's great that it's going up. But the problem when Bitcoin has these big runs is that everyone goes out and tries to buy up as many GPUs as they can, because GPUs are what's used to mine crypto. And so people are trying to make a bunch of money mining crypto with these GPUs. But that means that now GPUs are not only in short supply, but because they're in high demand, they jack up the prices like crazy. So there's really no GPUs to be found out there at the moment, which sucks, but whatever. It's probably a good thing. I don't need to just be running out and spending money left and right as it is, especially when the system that I have works well for me. So that's the studio. If anybody, if I missed anything, or if anyone watching or listening would like some clarification on any of the things that I've shown today, or if you have any questions about equipment, gear, whatever, leave me a comment below. You can also shoot me a note on Instagram or Twitter. But if you enjoyed what you saw today, and I hope you did, it'd be great. It would be great. What the heck? Oh, now my thing doesn't want to work, huh? Wait a minute. Where am I? Oh, I know why. Because I'm on Game Show. There we go. If you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you happen to be watching or listening. And also follow me on social media at Ryan Hafey on Instagram and Twitter. By the way, links to just about everything that I've mentioned today should be in the description down below. So feel free to check out those affiliate links if you like. And any purchases that you make via those affiliate links go to supporting this podcast and this YouTube channel as well. So anything, any of that is appreciated. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. Thanks again so much for watching. Mark, thanks for the comments. Thanks for tuning in and watching, man. Appreciate you. And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.